That's why I go for that rock and roll music, any old way you choose it.
This is Katie with Vintage and Vinyl. I'll be spinning some rockin' 50s records every week here on my channel, as well as sharing some cool Coca-Cola collectibles and other neat vintage finds. Stay tuned! Hey guys, this is Katie with Vintage and Vinyl, back with another great video for you today. In this video, we are talking all things advertising, and you guys are going to love these tins. They are so amazing. The graphics are fabulous, and they really don't make things like they used to. I think our packaging really pales in comparison to what they had back in the day. Now, if you haven't seen any of my previous videos, I have done a lot on advertisement tins, and I had the wonderful opportunity to be live with Trusty Huckster Mercantile a few Sundays ago, and I talked all about typewriter tins. It's an hour-long special, and you can catch the interview right here on my channel, linked in the collaborations playlist, or you can go directly to Trusty Huckster Mercantile's channel, and I certainly recommend you do that just for some of his videos. They are fantastic. He has great knowledge, really cool swung glass vases and pottery, and of course he does his weekly live sales, so you don't want to miss Trusty, and he's on Trusty Huckster Mercantile on YouTube. So definitely check his page out. I will link it down below so you can go ahead and head over there and subscribe. So let's go ahead and get into this video, and I'm going to show you one of my favorite tins first, because the graphics, guys, that's all I can tell you, is they are amazing. So this is a theatrical cold cream Rexall tin. Look at that. Is that not just absolutely stunning? I mean, wow. So this tin is for theatrical cold cream by Rexall, and it says here that they are prepared especially for the profession and for general skincare by the Rexall Drug Company, Los Angeles, Boston, St. Louis, and USA. And then on the back here it said preferred by stars of stage, screen, radio to meet exacting requirements of proper skincare. Excellent to cleanse, soften, and smooth your skin. Net weight 1 pound, and then it says 1851.2 on the side. Now, we've talked about this before on my channel, but it's really hard to date tins. There's not a book out there that just has a tell-all with all the dates for every tin ever made. The internet's sometimes not very accurate. So really one of the best ways to date tins is just simply by looking at its graphics. I probably would date this tin to the 1950s just by the graphics on it. Now you also want to look to see if there's some sort of an address, because we know if there's no zip code, then you definitely have something that's before 1963, because 1963 is when zip codes became predominantly used. So this has no address. I can't look that way, but I am just looking at the graphics. I've also heard by a couple of tin collectors, and I don't know that this is 100% true, but I heard that after World War I, they started putting a lot of patents listed on the advertisement tins themselves, because they felt like if people saw the patents, they would believe that the object was well made, produced by a good company, because they were applying for a patent. So I don't know if that's 100% true, but I think that it's interesting to note. Now this tin is made in the USA, and I can't really find a tin maker. On typewriter tins, typically the maker of the tin would be listed, really small print on the side of the tin or on the bottom, but there's no way to tell who made this tin. And sometimes by knowing that, you can also date a tin, because then you know when that particular company was in business. So I'm guessing 1950s. You guys let me know in the comments, but the graphics nonetheless are just totally spectacular on this tin here. Now the next tin I have to share with you is Eureka Tape Repairer, and it's just this really small tin, but it has this great blue graphic on it, and I love the little retro hardware. You know, it looks like rope on there. That's just really cool. And on the back, it says that it is for, let's see, where did I see that? Yeah, Chicago Steel Tape Company, Chicago, Illinois, made in USA. Now, this is interesting because this tin does say that there was a patent applied for. So if that patent information is accurate, this would be sometime after potentially World War I. It's interesting that they did say that clearly on the front of the tin. You can see that there. If my camera will focus, yes, patent applied for, right there. And then on the back it says, first hammer down the burr at the edge of the broken ends of the tape, then clean the surface of the tape with a knife or sandpaper, then insert the broken ends into a sleeve, and then hammer the sleeve so it closes well down onto the tape, and hold a lighted match under the sleeve while it burns itself out. Let it cool and do not remove it while it is cooling, I'm sure, because that would be very hot. And then the top says that it is 1/2 inch heavy, and it's Eureka tape repair. So there's the top. And then here's the back with the directions that I just read. Let's see if that will focus there. Yeah, that's focusing. And in the inside, it has these little tiny metal deals where you would use tape repair. Let's see if that shows up. There you go. You'd put the rope or whatever needed mending inside these little metal things and then clamp it down. And it did come with a piece of sandpaper there. So that's pretty neat. This is just a great little tin. I would probably date this maybe, I don't know, 1950s, 1960s. That's what I'm kind of thinking. Again, you guys let me know in the comments what you think, but it's just a very cool tin nonetheless. And I love that blue color with kind of that darkish taupe, if you will. Now, the next couple of tins I want to share with you are Watchmakers tins. Now, I have quite a few of these, and I think that they're really neat. And I am just fascinated by containers that hold small parts. And some of the watch pieces are still in a few of these tins. And the first tin here is by a company called Kilbeck Company. They are watch materials and jeweler supplies. They're from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and what's neat is it has KB on the tin right there, which is cool because those are my initials. So I love this tin, and of course the red color is really cool. Now the inside is pretty new looking. So again, I don't think that this is a modern tin, but I wouldn't say that it's that old. I'm thinking maybe 60s. It could be 50s, but I'm leaning more towards 60s just based on the graphics. Again, there's no tin maker or anything on the back, and when you look these tins up online, there's just no information really. But I love this Watchmakers tin. The next Watchmakers tin is in the 70s autumn colors. So this is jewel mount for Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's all the tin says, but it's a Watchmakers tin. And I really think that this is probably from the 70s. It's very new inside. And but it's just a neat tin. The orange color is really cool, and I love that kind of, it almost has like a jungle font, if you guys know what I mean. But it's just a neat little tin. So this is the jewel mount tin. And then we have a really cool tin. This is a kind of really retro looking tin that has that watch face graphic that I really love. But this is Hairspring Vibrating Silbert and Company watch dials, refinishing crystal fitting, Elgin, Illinois. So there's this tin here, and it has a, let's see, inside that's very clean. Again, all of these were clean, and I bought these in a lot on eBay, which was great. So I got a lot of tins for very good price. And the back does have some issues. I mean, if I were to grade this tin, I'd probably say maybe it's a grade 6, just because it does have some paint loss and that kind of thing. But I just love this graphic. I mean, how can you not love that? That is just so cool. Now the next Watchmakers tin is a watch material and tools company, and I believe that this is the Feinstein brothers. But someone stuck a piece of tape on the lid, and again, as I've mentioned, they reused these tins. So, I mean, this probably was reused for many things, and that piece of tape was covering the label so that they could write on it what it was being used for. But this is Feinstein Brothers Jewelers and Supplies, and it's from 55 Washburn Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. Financial, I think is what it says. And then it says 23600. So this one does have a zip code on it. From what I can tell, it's very hard to see. But it says Financial 6-349. So this has a very interesting look, because it looks very 50s to me. But we know if it has a zip code, then it has to be, before after 1963. So I don't know. I'm maybe gonna say 60s on this one, just because of that. It has no maker's mark on the tin, but the tin is in relatively good condition on the inside, and there is no dings really on the outside other than some light surface wear. But this is a cool tin. I like the yellow color. The last tin that I'm going to share with you today is by C&E Marshall Company out of Chicago, Illinois. They're watchmakers and jewelers supplies, and it says that it is branches and distributors in principal cities throughout the U.S. Trademark, and then it says Marco. Now, the reason I think this tin is a little bit older is because it says in principal cities throughout the USA. That phrase typically isn't used on modern tins that I have seen. Now, I'm not saying it's not out there. I don't claim to know everything about tins, but typically you see that on some of the older typewriter tins and other advertising pieces. So that little phrase there makes me think that this is probably 1960s, or not 1960s, I'm sorry, 1950s or so. That's just my guess on this tin. But the graphics are so cool. And look, the inside still has a little watch part. I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but right there, that little speck you're seeing on your screen is a watch part that was left in the tin. So I just think that these are super cool. And what's neat is you can line them up together and kind of color code them, and it just looks fabulous together on a shelf. And I love those graphics. You just can't beat them. And it's neat that you can see here that someone definitely, reused this tin and things were repurposed, which I really, really love the idea of. Now everything's just so disposable that you can't do that. Everything's so flimsy. But these tins are really great. And I can't wait to share more tins with you as I pick them up. I will be having a collaboration video coming out soon on my channel, so you want to stay tuned for that. And I hope you all have a great week. Stay in, stay safe, and binge YouTube.
Just let me hear some of that rock and roll music any old way